This Meditainment production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.
The Whine and Cheese show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series brought to you by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning: the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved and contains content not suitable for anyone.
G'day and welcome to episode 48 of the Whine and Cheese in the Metaverses show.
Today we talked to Shaktilyn about her life outside of the Metaverse, how she got into the Metaverse, which projects she's into, her book, and the amazing art she has done.
Absolutely. So grab an owl, jump in your van, and get ready to race across state lines and dodge being thrown in the slammer in another super shitty episode of
The worst show ever.
Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Cheese. One is a wanker, one's slinging stunts. One's from Australia, one's from the Bronx. Talking about the Metaverse and NFTs. Interviewing all the real crypto G's.
Hello, welcome to the Whine and Cheese in the Metaverses show. There's Morecheese, BEN68. We have Shaktilyn with us. BEN68, we're on episode 48, and life is great.
Here with Cheese, me old moldy mate.
Yeah! I'll be a moldy mate. So this is awesome. Like I've always wanted to get Shaktilyn in. When we met in Vegas, you were awesome. You remind me like of myself, but maybe just a little bit more happy. So I need to hang out with you more to kind of absorb that. You're a mover shaker, you're a networker. I love networking. It's really awesome to have you on the show. We're going to learn a lot more about you. But first, we're going to talk about Upland and Metaverse articles, and we want your very, very extremely biased opinion on them, because that makes this fun, right?
All right.
So Ben said he had something scary.
I didn't say scary. I just asked, do you trust me?
I do.
You look a bit nervous. So, how do you feel about pie?
I love pie. Apple pie, chocolate cream pie, banana cream pie is very good. Yum yum yum. Yeah.
Peach pie.
Okay.
Peach pie.
Yeah. How about humble pie?
Do you think I'm gonna be humble?
No, it's definitely the both of us.
Really? All right, tell me, because I love to be proven wrong,
Yeah.
especially when it has to do with things I want to invest in.
Well, that's definitely the case here. On this show for quite a long time, we have been ragging, kind of poking fun at, sniggering at our old mate Zucko. You know, all sorts of names, Zuck the Cuck, everything. We've been going in hard on the old Zucko, but you know what? Any guess where I'm going here?
He's done something beautiful, and I just want to say one thing. I never was negative on the Zuck until I saw that image.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Well, we have been like tongue in cheek, kind of laughing at the whole situation and that sort of stuff. So, I've tried to point you to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast a few times. Like he's the biggest podcaster in the world. Well, old mate Zuck was on the Joe Rogan Experience a couple of days ago, I believe. Now,
Really?
as I went on my 10K bike ride at the exercise bike at home, I put the headphones on. I was listening to it, and mate, it was you got to check that episode out. It's
really. So yeah, whenever you
pretty
need me to listen to something, Ben, you have to send it to me and say, watch this. And I will definitely watch it. I was up till like 1 a.m. watching your interview with Loyal, which was extremely well done.
Yeah, I was telling you, go to bed.
So,
So,
like,
you know, as early as last week, we've been ragging on the old Zuck. So, you know, what the fuck, oh, Mark Zucker? You know, we have been going in, but yeah. So yeah, the link is gonna of course be in the description. But yeah, old mate Zuck with his kind of alien haircut, you know, that's part of the fun. And this goes back. Remember when we went? Remember when we had Mars Utah on, and there was that interview that Mark done, and he was using baby back sauce or something as a bookend, or you know. So you don't remember that?
I think I do. Yeah, it was in the background where his toys were. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something we've been poking fun at. But yeah, you got to check this episode out. I was on the exercise bike as I was doing this, so I've taken a whole bunch of notes that I'm probably going to struggle to read. But he of course dives into the metaverse and all that sort of stuff, because Joe Rogan he's kind of a very, not a critic, but he's very skeptical of the whole, you know, Web 3.0, NFTs and the metaverse and all that sort of stuff. And
all right,
but yeah, when you hear Mark Zuckerberg talk, some of the bullet points that I've written down is he started talking about how gaming is going to be the gateway to all of this. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's what the three of us here, that's what we're all about. Mm-hmm. We're in that space. He did, at the very start of the show, he went in pretty deep on the whole AR, VR situation and all the money that they're investing in the partnerships they have with Ray-Ban glasses. And like you and I have covered that on this show, mm-hmm. and we were really impressed with that whole angle.
Oh, yeah.
With the AR, VR aspect of Ray-Ban's glasses. So he talks at length about that. Mm-hmm. Hello, Uplando. And one of the things that he continued to refer to over and over again all the way through the interview was that communication, the future of communication is what this is all about. And, you know, we've seen this with Dirk in Dirk's reply to Mark Cuban, how, you know, you can have these metaverses and this land and that, but the communication, the community aspect is the key. So it was really interesting to hear his take on it. So what else he said here? Oh, he was talking about how the whole purpose of what he's trying to do is to build a better sense of presence in the virtual world. So,
did he show anything on this? No. All right. So talking is amazing. Talking is great. Talking is entertaining. But until you show me the money, remember that movie? Show me the money.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. I'm like, you could talk all you want. You know what? I'm not going to eat that humble pie yet. I need to see a new picture that replaces that Eiffel Tower and sandcastle, whatever that is.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know if they showed anything because I was only listening. So the podcast does have a visual element to it. So like, don't actually quote me on that. I don't know. Shaq, did you catch this episode yet?
No, I didn't. Nope.
Yeah. So they did talk about apparently before the interview, Joe had a test of the latest Oculus that's coming out, and he said like the like, you know how you have your avatar, well, there's a camera within the Oculus that matches your facial expressions. So if you frown, your avatar is going to frown. If you smile, your avatar smiles. So it's
well, when you say new Oculus, because I just got an Oculus about a month ago.
Yep.
Is that considered the new Oculus?
No, that's considered the one that's been put out in the public. So you know what, this technology is moving at light speed.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and so you talked about how you know, if you go to Decentraland or one of those metaverses now and you walk around, you're just a pretty static avatar. Like, you're going to bump into people, but with this newer system, like, you're making eye contact with people. You're reacting more in
what if I don't want to do that? Wait, first of all, what if I don't want to do that? And second of all, is he trying to be the next Apple of VR? Like, oh, this has the newest, greatest thing. And then a couple of months later, because my Oculus was the newest, greatest thing a month ago.
Yeah, well, the version that they showed, maybe that doesn't come out for another year. You know, that might be an early test version. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Mm. So yeah, he talked about differences between building relationships online or being a pure consumer of digital technologies. So, you know, you can be somebody who sits in front of the TV watching YouTube videos all day, or
Mhm.
you can be a YouTube creator. The same thing's going to occur with the Web 3.0 space, you know. You can be a consumer of NFTs and or wear your Oculus and that sort of stuff, or you can be actively engaged in community building and making relationships, meeting people, doing business, you know, that sort of thing.
Why not both?
What was that?
Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah, well, absolutely, it will be for sure. And he mentions that the creative economy is just kind of starting to explode. And we're seeing that, you know, as far as user generated content, as
Well,
that's all kicking off.
I don't think it's exploding. I think it's just being more seen, because I think there has been a great amount of creativity in the space. Is just that it hasn't been appreciated as much as it is now, or needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes into the whole thing too, where it's giving creative people opportunities to make like real actual money out of their hobby or their interests or their creations. So
Well,
there's
let
kind
me
of a
ask Shaq.
flippening.
Let me ask Shaq, because I love Upland. I don't really like interacting, like, in a sense where you hear voices around you in virtual reality. I'm more of a typer. If I'm going to talk in the chat room. I don't know if I could. Maybe I'm too old to chew gum and walk at the same time, i.e., like being in a virtual reality and talking. Um, is that something of interest to you? Like, have you ever been into Decentraland or Sandbox and kind of like walked around with your avatar and like just heard voices all around you?
No, I haven't.
I
I'm
tried it
so
once.
new to this, you guys. I am so new to this. I haven't done that.
It's annoying. It's in my opinion. I'm not on anyone else who likes it. You know, that's good on you. You're probably better off for liking it. But as soon as I got in there, I saw a bar. I'm in a bar. These people are running around talking. I don't understand what they're saying. They're talking to someone else. I had to get out of the bar because I couldn't. I was getting overwhelmed, sort
That
of
makes
thing.
sense to me. I get that. I'm
Yeah.
a writer too. I write and I type, and I can really connect with people through written communication.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Um,
the same.
I think I have like a verbal communication disability or something, because I communicate better through writing.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gives you more opportunities to, you know, review and reflect on what you're going to say too.
Yes, exactly.
Whenever I get into a kind of confrontational situation, whether that be in my real professional life or anything, I always push it to email to text because, you know, it's just, I think it's a much thorough opportunity to get what you really want to express across, you know. I guess it's like reading a book versus watching the movie sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But I think most of the world does better in person. I mean, I think the majority of the world are like extroverts. Introverts are a minority. And I don't know if you guys are introverted or not, but
Kind of both.
anyway, there are a lot of people that function better in person.
Yep.
But yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know if I've shared this story, like going off, piggybacking off what you've said there, Cheese. Like when we moved back to Australia from Japan, one of the things I really struggled with as far as settling back in and reverse homesickness and all that is dealing with other people's bullshit conversations. Like living in Japan, I was kind of in my little bubble. You know, I could understand Japanese well enough, like I could listen to people's conversations and know what they're talking about, but it was very easy for me to filter that out. Like if we're in a restaurant or if we're at the mall and it's packed, that kind of it's like you have a mental filter where you just kind of don't take it in. But when I came back to Australia, of course, that's my native language. You just bombarded by people's bullshit conversations, and it drove me crazy for a couple of weeks.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see
totally.
that. I mean, there's times when I was single, I used to go to, I told you this before, Ben, I used to go to a diner and I used to sit right next to like the most obnoxious, loudest people or interesting and just kind of listen to their conversation. But I have to be in a mood for that. Like for the most part, I don't like loud situations and I don't usually talk that much. Like if I'm next to someone who talks a lot, I'll just probably drone out because I can't really concentrate when there's too many words involved, sort of thing. If you're coming at me with a lot of information, it's just going to kill me. So for people in the future, if you want to talk to me, like less is more, or else I'm just going to be like,
well, that happens to us. Like sometimes when we get into it, and I hit you with a barrage of text in DM, and you get overwhelmed, and I just essentially strip it down to bullet points.
Yeah, sometimes I miss full paragraphs from you because of that. And I'm like, you never told me this. And you're like, look back, cheese. And I'm like, what the hell? How the frick did I miss this big chunk of paragraph? Sorry, Ben. You deal with a lot with me.
Well, that definitely, that's a two-way street, that one. So getting back to Zuck, I think if you or I or, Shaq were to meet him in person, like it really comes across as he's just a regular dude, it really does.
Or he has a really good mask, Ben. People,
well, we all do. Come on, we all do.
Yeah, but I mean, people with his kind of money can buy really great masks and decorate it and like paint it, layer it, like these people that you see on a show, they're quite different in person. Like I don't know, I would have to meet him. And
I think once you watch or listen to it, I'll be interested to get your take on it after that, because one of the other things he talked about was the challenges associated with setting up forms of community governance within the platform. Well, that sounds familiar. That's exactly what Upland's setting up to do. He talked about the challenges of dealing with fudders and bad actors on a massive scale. Again, that sounds pretty familiar. Yeah, he talked about how the whole Facebook thing was an idea that he had and believed in, and he stuck with it through the grind when no one else believed in it or they lost interest. Well, again, that sounds pretty familiar. So to me, he almost sounds like, to go back to the Upland reference, he sounds like a community node manager. The difference is that his node has 3.5 billion people in it. So imagine trying to deal with that.
Wow, this is the first time like you're more positive on this subject than me. I'm kind of like loving it right now.
I'm like fanboying on the old.
You are. I love it.
Flips.
This is entertaining.
Sipping coffee, laughing at me. So yes, you might not be ready for the humble pie, but I've eaten it. I've licked up the crumbs and I've done the dishes and put them away.
Gullible.
So I'm gullible.
No, all right. No. That's harsh. You're very fair. You're a lot more fair than I am. Like you're the Libra, you're the scales. You have a lot more hope in people. Maybe that's why we're good together, because you give me hope and I give you hate.
You say that, but I have a very short level of patience for people. I have a very abrupt filter. Like I know within seconds if you're somebody that I'm going to get along with, because I have had, I've lived all through Australia, overseas, in all sorts of different situations. I've got plenty of life experience.
You can't say that because you didn't like me at first.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Who you were.
You didn't give me a chance. And then the cheese is like, she got into the crevices and she started smelling. You're like, what the hell is that
smell?
Started
melting through all the cracks.
Yeah. And you're like, you know what? And then you're like, I can't get this off of me. I might as well see what it is. And you're like, oh, it's not so bad.
Just gave it a little lick. Oh, yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. I'd have to look right back through our early DMs, but that would be that'd take me a day to scroll through them all. So yeah, I don't know. So yes, I've flipped the switch. Zucko, I'm a fan. You just seem like a regular dude to me. It's just that you got a whole lot going on. So I think he's coping quite well. But I will be very interested to see or hear your take on that once you've had time to consume and process. Who knows? You might double down on the hate. Who knows? You might.
After the show,
pick up
I'll watch that. I'll watch that. Just give me the link whenever you have the chance.
Link is in the description. Yes. All right, we'll move on. Now I did, when I was looking for articles, I did have a bit of a think on, how is this all related? Where is this going? Like the three of us here in this room are pretty heavily invested in this space in particular. So this article is how NFTs bridge Web 2 and Web 3 companies, one metaverse at a time.
Ooh.
So what's your take on that, Cheezels?
I have no idea. I'd love to know. To be quite honest, this is all very new to me. And this is something, if I saw it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I want to know this. So like,
well, we've talked about this on the show, how NFTs at the moment are predominantly like collector cards or this, that, and the other thing, but more companies are going to get invested in using them. Like NFT, I believe NFTs will essentially become bureaucracy tools or things that company use that you're not even aware of. It's just something that happens in the background.
All right.
I don't know, Shaq, what do you think? Any thoughts based on that headline?
Well, what it makes me think of is an announcement I saw from the UK that the courts were allowing, I think, subpoenas to be issued as NFTs instead of through mail.
Ooh.
There you go.
And I saw a lady talking, not a lady, sorry, like a Web3 crypto expert talking about a natural disaster where, I don't know, hurricane, whatever, but everything's just destroyed and a lot of people need care at the hospital. And the problem is that there's no record of who these people are, what their medical history is, etc., and how NFTs could solve that.
Absolutely.
So
all right.
that's what it makes me think of. But to be honest, I'm completely confused by the headline.
So actually Shaq put it in. Yeah, the headline is very confusing, and Shaq put it into perspective for me. And now I do remember our conversation we had. So thank you, Shaktilyn. Yeah, like we were talking about deeds for a house, for like identification and whatnot. Yeah, they that heading makes me think more of gaming.
Yeah. Well, and it's, as my best friend Mark Zuckerberg said, gaming is the gateway. Gaming is the gateway. So yeah, it's not going to be about birth certificates and marriage licenses and all that sort of stuff at the start, but it will bleed over into that kind of thing. I fully believe too. So
well, I need to get you a T-shirt that says "I love Zuck." Wait, cuck for Zuck.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Yeah, so it says Web3 applications built on the blockchain and enhanced by decentralized assets like NFTs are ushering in a new era of how people connect, communicate, work, and play. You're quite proud of yourself, aren't you, Cheese?
Can we have that hashtag, people, in Twitter?
Hack for Zuck.
Hack for Zuck.
God.
Oh my
All
God.
Right. Now it says here, how are legacy companies and platforms getting ready for Web3? It's an interesting question because these are migrating gradually from an era of social media and centralized databases to Web3, which values privacy and decentralization. The short answer is that they're using NFTs. Okay, so.
Is it really private though? If like a lot of places do KYC? And if it isn't, if it is private, does that mean it's more dangerous or unsafe or hacky? Things that make you go,
Well, right at this moment, I could very easily get yours and Shaq's wax accounts and go and have a look at exactly what you've bought, I could probably track that to some blockchain data and see, you know, that there would be a trail there. Where did your wax come in from? Have you taken any wax out? So yeah, it's a very interesting question.
Where did your wax come from? Where did it go? I'm on a roll
My God,
today.
you are old.
Wow!
I want to see you do that dance. Oh, I'm just as old, so don't worry. I want to see you do that Cotton Eye Joe dance. There you go. Stand on your chair. Get your
Oh
legs sticking out.
gosh.
Yes. All right. So, yeah, it says here an open 3D immersive internet is what Web3 stands for. Web3 applications built on the blockchain and enhanced by decentralized assets like NFTs are ushering in a new era of how people connect, communicate, work, and play. Ooh, we know all those words. All within an open, transparent environment. Web3 will enable consumers to engage while retaining complete control over their data and how it is used. And yeah, I'll keep reading. In contrast to Web 2, which was dominated by centralized firms owning, controlling, and monetizing users' data in exchange for platform services.
Well, see, that just hypocritical, and it goes against it. Open, transparent environment. How is that private?
Yeah, well, let me read. What did it actually say about private? These are migrating gradually from an era of social media and centralized databases, which values to Web3. Yeah, well, that is definitely a contradiction there for sure.
It is.
So here we go. NFTs as connective tissue between Web 2 and Web 3. This real-world connection ushered in by the advancement of NFTs makes it the perfect tool to bridge the gaps between Web 2 and 3. Well-known firms are experimenting with NFTs by launching tokenized versions of their real-world products and solutions. Yeah, absolutely. Metaverses such as the Sandbox and Decentraland and Upland are leading the Web3 community with high-profile digital land sales and brand partnerships, while Facebook has doubled down on their version of the Metaverse, blah, 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 blah. So again, we get Sandbox and Decentraland dropped. And again, I'm going to ask the question, why is Upland not part of these conversations? Considering
I think Upland is not, see, I used to wonder it, but then I'm like, I don't think Upland is in the same category as those, because I think Upland is better. See, like Upland has more going for it, whereas the Sandbox and Decentraland are fairly like done, where you could go to places within there and it has it all there. Like Upland is concentrating on community-based creativity, not their own creativity. So like, I know in a Sandbox you could create things, but for the most part, all you hear about is the Sandbox and Decentraland getting in like these corporations like Chase are getting in these celebrities, while Upland is giving the players, the community, meta ventures, racing. They're giving them opportunities to create their own companies like UCC with the, you know, their Spark thing and other people doing stuff. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like Upland is like they're not in Upland's league right now.
Yeah, well, I've just pulled up the stats from the last city release we had for Porto, the first European city in Upland, and 76 NFTs minted per second.
Wow.
I guarantee you that Decentraland and Sandbox aren't coming anywhere even remotely close to that. So,
No.
yeah, it's a strange one. I don't know. What about you, Shaq? Why do you think that Upland's never part of those conversations? The name drops, it's always Sandbox Decentraland.
Because of the crypto space, there's actually a crypto coin for Sandbox and crypto for whatever it's called.
Yeah, Decentraland.
Bingo. Yeah. I think that's the nail on the head.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because they're on the blockchain.
Yeah.
I mean, even though like your NFTs on Upland is on the EOS blockchain, they're not connected to that token.
Right. People aren't creating Upland. And that's what I think.
Wow. Yep. Shaq broke it down within seconds.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. Because it doesn't have a coin on the market. It's not part of that boom and bust, you know, FUD and FOMO cycle that gets the news loves that because it's clickbaity. So yeah, I think you're onto it there.
Yeah.
So this article talks about how Nike's launched their own metaverse showroom, Nike Land, in November to display their tokenized products on the Roblox platform. We've talked about a whole bunch of companies that are getting involved. You know, that they name drop several here: Coca-Cola, blah 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 blah. So we do see a lot of big companies starting to put their finger in the pie and exploring what's there. So,
and you know what? It's nice. It's cool to see that. But I hope Upland never gets to the point where there's more company businesses than there are community businesses.
aha. Now, that is a very good segue into the next article that I've got ready. We'll just check if there's anything more to touch on here. Pervasiveness of NFTs in the metaverse. NFTs have a much broader and more significant function to play in the metaverse. To play in the metaverse in the art world. NFTs enable several crucial elements of the metaverse to function, providing a means to claim or transfer ownership of discrete items or even higher concept items like identity. Yes, now that will definitely segue into this next part. So I don't know if this is gonna make you excited or terrify you, Cheese. You want to read that headline?
Not just for gaming, West Elm to furnish the metaverse.
Now, I don't know what West Elm is, but I assume this is a large furniture company based on the headline.
It's like a high-end furniture, like indoor furniture company. They might have some like outdoor seating, the wicker with the rainproof chair cushions. But yeah, it's mostly indoor, ritzy furnishing thing.
So is this a well-known company?
Yes, it is. I know it. See, but here, all right. So I feel like we can't see, all right, because I'm a capitalist at heart. I love that, I want everyone to have a chance to make money. I like that we need corporations to come in to sponsor and help, Upland raise money. I just want to coexist with them. So like, let's say West Elm comes in and does indoor decor exclusively, right? And we have outdoor decor and house decorations and house things to create different buildings for the metaverse. Like I can see that as a beautiful mix up. Like I would love to coexist with corporations, but at the same time have a safety net for the community businesses within Upland. I think that would be extremely important, and not only good for the community, but good for the businesses, because they want customers, they want happy people. Like if they come in and just take all the business spots in Upland from the community, there's going to be resentment. So it's like a very tightrope they have to walk. Like they have to think like, yeah, I want to be a part of this, but I don't want to overstep our actual customer base, which will be, business owners beside us in the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had this conversation recently. I don't know if it was with Doyle or somewhere, but we talked about how we're very aware of this situation. And I think it would be very naive to think that Upland isn't going to make partnerships with some of these big furniture companies, whether it be indoor, outdoor. And I truly believe like shops like we're setting up are going to become like smaller niche market opportunities. And there's a lot of value in that in itself. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a direct competitor. Hopefully it's just a case where rising tide lifts all the ships sort of thing. So we shall see. But it says here, in an appearance on CNBC's Mad Money, Williams Sonoma Incorporated CEO Laura Alba outlined the company's plans for West Elm Furnishings to appear in the popular Roblox video game. So now this is every second article that we're looking into nowadays is mentioning the Roblox. So it's very interesting what's happening there.
If they were smart, they would do business through already established community business owners in the metaverse game. They would have them sell their stuff, like great contracts for them to sell their stuff through them. Like that way, like, because for me, the blockchain and this metaverse and web 2 is from the bottom up. And these people are trying to skip in line. And I think it's going to be really, they're going to learn the hard way that it's not going to be received very well. Like, so if Upland decides to let's say get Williams Sonoma in and take over the outdoor decor, people might just go on a tangent and say we're not going to buy from them because why should we buy from someone who's going to compete directly with the community? Whereas if it's something completely different than a community-based business, they'll say, all right, we appreciate that this person isn't competing with us. You got a new fan. I'm going to support it.
Interesting. Now, absolutely. We know that Web3 is all about community. We've talked about it at length. The Upland team's talked about it at length. Mark Zuckerberg's talking about it at length. If you're a company that's coming in like this company's setting up to do, if you're not engaged in the community, like actually engaged in the community, if you're just a faceless company, there's going to be pushback. You're not going to get the same traction. And we've actually, there's a case that just jumped straight in my head straight away, was with the NFLPA situation that's going on within Upland. You know, there was that campaign push. Some of those football players were at Genesis Week, which you two were at. There was some community interaction there, but YK2012, who is also a Upland related YouTuber, he has a property next to one of the NFL players within the metaverse somewhere. I don't know whether it's Queens or wherever it is. And that player's, I think it's a small townhouse. It's built backwards. Now, YK2012 has been tagging that dude on Twitter, like relentlessly. Get in contact with me. You know, he's not like a mad fan trying to get your autograph. It's like, I want to help you rebuild your property the correct way. You demolish it and I'll help you rebuild it. Like, but he's just getting no reply at all. That player is not engaged.
He's not. There's no leadership in the NFLPA that's interacting with the community. And it's kind of like your example is perfect, because it's like you can't have, like, it's going to fizzle and die if you don't have a representative of some sort that can reach out to these players and say, hey, you know, they want you to demolish this and put it the right way, or hey, they're doing a node here, put up a house with these colors, or, you know, if you're able to come to an event in Vegas and you know, stand around while people dance around you. Man Bun did that. I mean, you can get on the freaking Discord and communicate like a few days a month at least with these people. I don't know.
I guess it gets back to, are those players or whoever they maybe they're CEOs of companies or even the companies themselves, are they actually engaged, or are they just cashing a check?
Cashing a check. And Man Bun even said he was an avid video game player in the event. I wish I knew his name. I'm sorry, Man Bun. But he did have a man bun.
I don't. Well, what's your whole take on that kind of aspect, Shaq, about big companies getting involved in what is essentially, like, looking at Upland is a very kind of niche, very highly connected small community, and big companies starting to get involved?
Well, I agree with everything that you guys have said and the concerns you've raised, and also the flip side, which is the rising tide floats all boats. I guess what I would like to see is things for our gaming inside of Upland should be built by the community.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's who we are. That's how it works. I would like to see the corporations that come in build their showrooms and events that they want to, you know, if they want to have a concert or whatever, but they can have events in a showroom, but they shouldn't be selling their furniture as 3D object NFTs to the community. That's
Yep.
They should be promoting their real life business with showrooms and perhaps promotions that you can use in the real world. But they should keep their stuff out of Upland.
I
Yeah,
agree, 100.
unless they're actively engaged in the community. Like if you think like this West Elm group, well, imagine they came on board, they signed a partnership with Upland. You would think at a minimum they would have like a channel within the official Upland Discord, and there's somebody from the team always engaged in conversations there. Like we see that with the NFLPA, that there is an NFLPA channel within the Upland server, but is there anybody from NFLPA in there actively engaging in the community, or is it just the community, you know, talking amongst themselves?
Well, you know what? Now that I heard what Shaktilyn said, I agree with her. Like, even if they had like an active community presence inside, it's really not their place to be selling amongst the like the little people, shall I say, unless it's something that it's exclusive to them. Like if it's exclusive to them and we're not able to do indoor decor, then yeah, I could see it as a good maybe. But at the same time, like, yeah, give it like save it for the community.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And we're going to do a bit of shameless self-promotion here. Like we're talking about furnishings and NFTs coming on board. Well, yeah, Cheese, myself, D-Tech, we're setting up. By all accounts, it's all going to kick off very, very soon. Like we don't know the timeline on it, but it's there's some stuff going on in the background where I've asked questions and I've been given an answer. It's too late. That train has left the station. It's all about to kick off. So. Yeah, we have our business. Now, it did start off as Samurai Aquatics, and there was an outdoor element to that. We did since take that out, so we've just opened it up as Samurai Aquatics and Decor, because I would like to potentially in the future see this extend to. I'd love to do like in-home aquariums or something. You know, make aquarium NFTs that you can display in your house or something like that as well. So. Yeah, there's a little bit of information there at udu.world if you click over on the link there. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on that we're setting up to do. Cheese, do I have that okay to share what we got as far as what's in the showroom? Just do a quick look through. Sure, not going to get slapped. So yeah, our Samurai Aquatics Discord server is open to the public at the moment, and you can click over and see what we've got going on in the showroom. All of these items that are shown in the showroom have been submitted, but not all of them are not all of them have been approved yet, and even the ones that have been approved, it appears that not all of them will be available for the first release. So what are we talking about when we're talking about furnitures and this, that, and the other thing in Web3 and the Metaverses? Well, we're talking about things like we've got an outdoor sauna here. What else we got? We got a pool, a jacuzzi, a grill,
So cool.
patio umbrella. So, and again, this is all of this has come about in the last couple of months based on information that we had. Like our business was not set up to make any of this stuff, really. We were going to be focused on in-ground pools and garden ponds and this,
Before
that, and the
you
other
go
thing,
any further.
Yes.
Now we have two seatings, one with fire and then one with a table. Yes. And I can see the one with the table going to facing outwards in your backyard where you have a racetrack going. And you just kind of sit with your friends and watch the racetrack. And you have your beers or Diet Pepsis on the table.
Nice.
And then the fire pit is more of a like an inclusive inside backyard sort of thing where you're with your friends or family cooking marshmallows and just hanging out.
Yeah, well, there's no limitations on where you can place these items. Like, maybe you're, like we talked about this, Shaq was saying introverts versus extroverts. Well, maybe you want your bathing station. Maybe you want that in the front yard. Why not? Get out there and have an ice bath, have a shower while people are racing past in the cars. Who knows? It is one of those things. We'll just have to see. So we've got a whole bunch of items here, and like I said, that's all due to kick off soon. And
I love this one, the fountain. Oh my god.
Am I at liberty to show the piece we just finished working on? Or am I going to get
Ooh,
smacked?
it could be a Whine and Cheese exclusive. You have to see the
Yes.
Whine and Cheese in order to see it.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So we are, for our shop, we are putting out a 10-piece collector set. Like there's a theme that runs right across the set, which is it's a wooden thing with a light stain, and it has a red trim. So that's one of the many sets we're hoping to put out there. It's a 10-piece set. We started thinking about how can we reward players that collect the full 10-piece set, and we came up with this 11th bonus piece. Now, we don't know the mechanics that are involved. We don't know if we're going to be able to essentially airdrop these to people. We don't know how it's going to work, or whether we have to set it up as reserve sales at a very minimum price. We don't know any of that mechanics, but we're kind of front loading that with what we would like to do, and hoping that, as happens in many of these cases, hoping that the team eventually catches up to, where we're at as far as pushing things forward. So, all right. So just imagine you're somebody who's collected the full 10-piece set, and you've sent your DM to Morecheeese,
Or Ben.
No. You've sent your DM to Morecheeese, and you said, "Hey, look, I've got the 10-piece set," and of course, we can check in your Upland assets. We can confirm that is indeed the case. And if you're, what did we say? That's going to be a mythic rarity. So if you're one of the first 200 people to collect the full set, then you're going to qualify for this this bonus piece.
It's beautiful, beautiful, extremely amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
The scale's a bit weird, and I'm doing this on my touchscreen. So this is an idea that we played around for a while. Is it a monument? Is it a funeral? Are we dead?
Yes.
But I forget the specific wording of this, but this is a very common feature in all around Japan and in Asian countries, where you have a kind of little thing where you can wash your hands with the water, and it's almost a purification thing. So it's just going to be a little monument to kind of capture the release of outdoor decor. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like DTech worked incredibly hard on all the stuff with the dragon. Oh, I'm not going to be able to zoom in with the dragon on the front. Cheese and DTech worked together to do the avatars. Gosh, how long have you been working on that, Cheese, with DTech?
The avatars were easy. The dragon was hard, because remember, I created the dragon, and then he put it in Blender and created a 3D version of it, which was freaking amazing. I was like, here's a picture. Can you like create this in like 3D? And he did amazing with it. And if you look closely to the dragon and stop moving like a spaz,
I'm trying to zoom in, but
woo, vertigo. If you're able to
zoom
like
zoom
into the dragon, you can see like the pixel texture on it.
I'm trying. There we go. I'm kind of getting it. Yeah, there we go. So you can, if you know Cheese's NFT artwork, you can see that this is her beaded texture. Yeah. And it goes all the way to the inside of the mouth and that sort of thing. So.
Like brought it to life. He brought it to life.
Wow.
So we're hoping that's going to be the 11th bonus piece. So that might not necessarily be something you want to display in your home or whatever, but it's going to be, because it's going to be a low mint, it's going to be a kind of a
collector's item.
Collector's item, yeah.
That is beautiful.
I already
Yeah.
joked to detect that all my profits are going to go to buying those off the second market from those who finalized their set. Like,
Yeah. Well,
give it to
that's
me.
one thing we've talked about internally too. Like, we're going to put all this out there. Obviously, we want to get as much as we can too, but there's no guarantee that we're going to be able to even get them ourselves. So that's part of the fun of NFTs. So we shall see. All right, I'm done with the spillage, Cheese. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on, or are we going to dive in?
I want to pour us a hot cup of Shaq. Tell us about yourself, Shaq. How did you, like, who are you outside of the metaverse? How did you get to know the metaverse and some of your projects you're involved in?
Well, I'm a writer, I'm an author and a photographer.
Ooh.
And first and foremost, I am a mother and a wife. And I have a little baby grandson who's, I guess he's not a baby anymore. He's almost 3.
Still a baby.
But I discovered crypto last fall. So I was getting into crypto and trading crypto, and my son-in-law loves crypto too. And so it was basically him and me. And it was then in January of this year that he texted me and he sent me a link to Upland and said, he said, I missed the party with Bitcoin and I'm tired of always being late to the party. So you might want to check this out. I think you'll like it.
Nice.
So I entered Upland. It was January 3rd of 2022. And I entered Upland and I was completely bewildered.
Yes.
There's
I
a
can
lot.
only imagine. Like, I joined in January 2 years prior to that, and I felt like I was late. I felt like there was a lot to take on board, and the learning curve even back then was high. I can't imagine what it's like for new players nowadays. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know about Discord or anything. So I'm just floating around in my block explorer over these pieces of land, and they were all already purchased. I mean, there was nothing available, and he kept saying, find it, look for FSA.
What the hell's an FSA?
So I was in Oakland. Oh, no, I landed in San Francisco.
Oh, no.
In San Francisco. And I could not believe the prices. Because I was just going to dabble. I mean, I didn't know what Upland was. I just was going to, he sent me the link, I got in, and I was going to buy something and say, yeah, I did it. Anyway, so he told me to go to Oakland, and I tried to get to Oakland, but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get to transportation. He's like, we'll take the bus or whatever. And so I'm typing in train station.
Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable.
Then I tried I found some transportation place and tried to send, and it said that you can't send to different
cities. Yeah.
Cities, and I was so lost. And then he talks about FSAs and goes to somewhere else, and so I went to Oakland. Anyway, I overpaid for really crappy piece, which I keep as a
learning experience token.
Sentimental, like this was my first property.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was, you know how you want things that you can't have?
Yes.
Well, I was bound.
Yes.
I was bound and determined to do San Francisco.
Sometimes they open FSA there. Like, it's very rare. You got to catch it really fast because, of course, the multi-account.
I missed that.
Like, sometimes when I do treasure hunts in San Fran, I'll see this open FSA I'll try to put it like in UDU or the newbies chat in Upland, and it goes fast. It goes really fast.
Wow. Well, I've never, ever, ever bought an FSA. I missed that. And I got into San Francisco. Just started buying stuff. That was before the market crashed. So cool.
No, I mean, market crashes are actually pretty good for new players that want to get in. Like I do feel like new players should take advantage of the FSA, but if you're someone who wants to put some money in and get something for really cheap, let's say Manhattan or San Francisco, it's not a bad time to do that. So
now it's a great time to get into San Francisco. Everyone should go by San Francisco now. I did it in January.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We say market crash. We throw those words out there, but the floor in San Francisco at the moment, I think it's still about 26,000 UPEX. Well, when I started minting San Francisco properties, I was buying San Francisco properties for 1,000 UPEX. So 2,000 UPEX. So it's still 10x.
No, it's still good. If you look at markups, San Francisco is still one of the top cities.
Yeah.
So I just probably bought a little earlier than I would have if I had a crystal ball.
Oh, there's so many people share that same story. So you're definitely not alone there. And I like that you say you were just completely bewildered by the whole transportation situation and that sort of thing, because there's a lot of implied knowledge. Like Cheese and I have been in it for so long that we have essentially grown up with all of these things. Like when I started playing, there was no transportation system. So I think I just missed a seat on the very first train from San Francisco to Fresno. I think I got the second ever train, you know, or there was some weird thing like that. So yeah, I just think it must be so hard for new people to come into the space because the onboarding situation is pretty lackluster, shall we say. So how did you find the Discord, and how did that change things for you?
So I asked my son-in-law some questions and he told me to go to Discord. So I created my Discord account and I sat there watching Upland general chat for quite a while.
And you're still here. That's amazing.
Feeling really shy and like an outsider. Until I saw some guy trying to scam some sweet little new girl from the Asian continent. She wanted to know how to buy a first property, and so he was trying to sell his Fresno to her.
Wow.
Because he couldn't sell it, like he had a property anyway, whatever. But that got me involved, and that's when I broke my silence and started chatting. And that guy and I became friends, and then
isn't it funny how that happens?
And then he turned out to, surprise, not be a great person.
Oh.
Things, you know, just kind of scammy. And so while I was in his Discord group chat, I met my first true friends in Upland. And we all left his group chat and formed our own. And they got me into my first node, which was Century City in Los Angeles. And Jazz Mills, the leader there, asked me to join leadership. And so that really got me started with community. And it's just all evolved from there. You know, and so then next I helped start up the Creedmoor Hub in Bellerose, Queens, which everybody knows is the Halloween hub. And we build all of our houses crooked and it looks ridiculous. And that's the beauty of it, is that it looks ridiculous. So if you love ridiculous, come to Creedmoor. Lord, and then I found you guys because Ben paid someone a ton of money
Please give some context for what.
to build up my Midtown Terrace properties. But I didn't even know
Yes.
it was a node. And I didn't know about Odoo. But when I learned about Odoo, my eyes got like this big and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Because you guys have a cool song.
We sure do. We sure do.
So cool. Your music and your website and all your materials and your art. And then the fact that you're the first in Upland to establish the idea of a node, at least as I understand it.
This guy.
I don't know if there's any like problems surrounding that claim, but like
There were, but it's good now.
I take it and I run with it, and you guys were the first. And I started again wanting what I can't have, and I was like, could I ever be a member of Odoo?
Was it me that approached you for that and was like, do you want to join? Do you want to join?
No, actually, I was so touched when I saw huge loads of spark, seriously, just truckloads of spark going onto my properties, that I started trying to solve the mystery of why this was happening. And so I reached out to the people who had spark on my builds and I said, thank you. And I think they were like, and I didn't know what the UCC was either. And they're like, well, we're with the UCC. You should probably thank Ben.
There you go. I'll bring that up here. Like, I'm sure Shaq won't mind us sharing some early DMs. So yeah, it was a case within the Midtown Terrace node. There's been several times where we just have a look around the map. Finsky will send me a DM and say, look, there's some random person who's started building a property here, and we'll just pile on. So, and that's exactly what happened with Shaq. Like, we didn't know who Shaq was. It was just a new name on the board, so we figured, why not? So yeah, Shaq sent me a DM and said, hi Ben, thank you so much for putting spark on my build in Midtown Terrace. And it was simple as that. And I said, no problem at all. We're gearing up for a huge spark blitz all across Midtown Terrace over the next couple of weeks. And I dropped a bit of a video there. And then from there, we just kind of got chatting. And one of the things that I really liked about our early interactions was you weren't afraid to like ask some pretty deep questions and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, you were you're open to the information, and you were keen to learn about the history. And I think some of the, once you kind of onboarded and moved into the UDU team, some of the questions you asked, there's probably questions that a lot of people that are new to that environment have been thinking about, or for whatever reason haven't asked. So no, I think it was just as valuable for us as I'm sure it was for you. So
it was fantastic. Yeah, by the time I got to Odoo, you can feel that there's a history in Upland. I mean, right? And I wanted to know it. I wanted to know what it was. So thank you for helping to teach me some of the history.
Awesome.
And it's a real honor to be able to be part of Odoo, because you guys have been around for so long and so well established. And it's I don't know, I feel like I'm touching history.
Well, it's an honor to have you, because
absolutely,
you are a great networker. You're everywhere. I've been privy to your art in TML's new server, the Xlanders. It's called UPX World, and he has a lot of bounties up there for creative people, and you and I are there always doing our stuff. And I was just like, I remember TML was teasing me, and he's like, because I put the new X there, and he's like, oh no, like Shaktilyn is in this too. And I'm like, no, I can't compete with your girl. I'm like, no, her stuff is amazing. And your stuff was great. It blew me out of the water. That X that you did, that he just replaced the profile pic for the Discord server, is amazing.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
that's my logo that I'm trying to compete for. I want to make the logo, so it's a competition, and that's my submission.
I love it. It's amazing.
you.
I like the metal look of the X in front of the earth, like the world and the space around it. It looks so great.
Well, thank you
So
very much.
I'm
And
a big fan of
your
artists.
art is amazing. So it means a lot to me to have you say that.
Well, your art's amazing.
Thank you.
And then yeah, I love that we have all this creativity and and whatnot in the UDU, and I love that people like you kind of are attracted to the history of what we are and whatnot, and it just feels good to like you non-creatives, we love you too. But you know, it's just nice. It's nice to have so much representation. I did
Yeah.
want to say one thing. I'm so sorry, Ben. Like
All right.
when you were confused about going to the train and the transportation, I actually got an idea in my head that Upland should have a button when you click the hot dog or the three dots at the bottom and it comes up. They should have a button that says send to nearest transport
That's a
in the
good
city
idea.
you're in, right? I think that would save people a lot of headaches and time figuring it
Yeah.
out.
The underlying problem is that Upland relies solely on the community to do all of their onboarding and answer all of their frequently asked questions and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of a tricky situation. Like Upland could spend essentially what would probably be $1 million fixing up the onboarding system, but it'd probably be outdated before it's written, sort of thing. So it is a kind of a tricky line for them. It is woefully inadequate. There definitely needs to be significant improvements made, but I don't know. It's a tricky one. I'd just like to go back to a few points you touched on there. Like there is a lot of history associated with myself, Cheese, through the whole wider community. I still get DMs from people saying, you know, sorry to bother you and this, that, and the other thing. I always tell the first thing I tell people is I'm just a dickhead playing a game on my phone. There's no it doesn't matter what the history is. It doesn't really mean anything because you have more experience. It doesn't mean you're better than anybody else or in a different position. It's just experience is experience, sort of thing. So I don't know. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You what?
Not that you're better, but you can help out more. You can assist more. Like it's attractive because like you have that network of people who know what they're doing and they can like kind of be with you one-on-one rather than you're in a sea of maybe scammy, maybe not.
Well, it's a weird vibe that comes across. Like obviously you and I we do 2 shows a week, so we're here, there, and everywhere. Like I've a big motor mouth. Yeah, the vibe is almost like people are sorry to bother me because I'm above them or something. But I'm just there's nothing that Cheese and I have done or that I've done in this game that anybody else couldn't go ahead and do. It's just that we've been at it for a lot longer than most people, and kind of piggybacking off of that is you kind of Shaq, you kind of appeared to come out of nowhere essentially, as far as you know that property pinged up in Midtown Terrace, and then we got to talking, and then you came into the UDU, but then I see you're in. I'll jump over to this server and this project, and you're over there, and then you know you're here, you're there. You kind of just went everywhere. Well, you're one of those people that I think whether it be the community aspect or there was something in there that it clicked with you, and you definitely seem to be one of those people like, how can I get more involved in this? What can I contribute to this sort of situation? Was there anything in particular that kind of flipped that switch for you, or was there a catalyst to why you've got so deeply engaged so quickly?
Yes. One of the things I noted in some communities was that they're closed off to the rest of Upland. And that's understandable because it's a lot of work to build a community, and it takes a lot of time and attention and focus, and there's a lot to manage, and takes a lot of resources. But I was just starting to notice that I felt like you could put your focus into building your community or your node, but there was something missing. And then I went to Vegas. And when I was in Vegas and I met Morecheeese, I met so many of the people whose names that we all know, and they were there. And they all have their own projects and interests and things going on. And I had an epiphany in Vegas that we, the Upland community, we are all one. Whatever we're working on, that's great. But we are collectively a community. And we each have our own special area of knowledge and experience and talent. And I just didn't feel like it's wise to shut yourself off, into one little group and limit your knowledge and experience and learning by staying closed off. And I don't know if I have the words to explain it, but it really was an epiphany. And I wanted to connect the communities. We're all working for the same goal.
Yeah.
And we need to do it together, and we need to like each other, to cooperate with each other. And also there's a certain amount of good vibe thing. For example, I had been hunting in San Francisco, treasure hunting, and I had noticed that some people have their fees set to the lowest possible. Thank me later, TM, Dizzy Disky. And then I met them in Vegas, and I went to them and I said, thank you. Thank you. Right? I'm new, I noticed, and it sends a message. I'm like, this might sound corny, but I felt like you were telling me, welcome to Upland. I'm not here to try to take advantage of you. I actually care about your success. I care about your financial well-being, and I'm going to do this to help you. And I'm going to deliberately set my fees to the lowest I can. And I told Thank Me Later that I liked that vibe so much that I wanted to make other people feel that way too. And so I set all of mine to the lowest, because, and it's just, that was my waking up point right there in Vegas, with the good vibes and all this feeling of appreciation for what everyone does for the community. Not everyone, but some people go out of their way to be good to other people. And I wanted to be that person also. And so when I got back from Vegas, I bought properties in as many nodes as I could find and afford, like Boys Town and Portage Park. I'd always heard about them, but I'm like, why did I think that it was like there's us and then there's them? No, because we're all one. And so I established a presence in a lot of nodes. And then when Rio came, my friends, my first friends, Yukadag, which people call Q, and Relix, they started a node with J Mansui, and there's names I don't know how to pronounce. Nikai and Obey.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry if I'm missing some people, because my brain is fried right now, and I'm nervous.
Aw.
When Rio came, they created IDA, International Development Association. And they plan to have a node all over the globe, and the theme is one of acceptance, where it doesn't matter what your background is, your religion, nationality, sexual orientation, or how rich you are just welcome. And so that's the philosophy behind IDA, and they're doing a great job. And so I'm in there with them, and they're doing a great job. And the other project that I want to mention is my partnership with Tosshead. Tosshead is the one that created the art for the van, the imagination van.
Nice.
I got the award, and everyone calls it mine, but Tosshead did that amazing art and gifted it to me to enter. So kudos to him. Everybody needs to know that was Tosshead, not me. And it was such an honor to get to work with him. And now we have teamed up, and we're planning on what we'll call the Toss Shack.
I love Toss Shack, baby,
Toss
Toss Shack.
And we share what I was talking about good vibes and just it being about community. We want to help build a better metaverse, right? We want to spread all the good. So we are working together on the Avenue of Fashion, which is a drag strip in Detroit.
Yep.
And we're helping Humble Life with his charity for the homeless, and really just getting started. As Tosshead likes to say, we're still finding our way. But, at the end of the day, it's all about community, I think,
Absolutely.
in my opinion. And that's really my goal in Upland is to, oh gosh, and then Upix World. Upix World.
Upix World.
Which I am so excited to be a part of. I'm helping with TML and Seppuku and Humble Life, which we all know as Chetmate.
Mm-hmm.
And I right now are a team working together on Upix World, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. This layer 2 platform that will be built on top of the Upland Metaverse, and it's a community built gaming platform. And so we get to create the art that will be used in the game. And so I run the bounties, the art bounties, and it's such an amazing opportunity for all of the creatives in the game to get in and create the art and try to win the bounties. But we don't, we're accepting all art that meets the criteria, because there's going to be so many uses for art in this layer 2. And I think everyone in Upland should be excited, because it's going to utilize our layer 1 assets in Upland. And the idea is that it will generate a revenue stream, an additional revenue stream for our assets that we currently have. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Creative economy is exploding, Cheese.
Yes.
My old mate Zuck. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, what was I saying to you last night in DM's, Cheese? I was talking about how to kind of summarize that whole community appeal. I think our Cheese and my vibe is very much one of how do I say? We don't have to like everybody. Like there are definite personality clashes. Like, as I said, I pretty well know from very early on if you're someone I'm going to get along with. But we are in all this. We are in this all together. We have to work together. This year for us is, especially for myself, has been kind of reflecting on the past, because there is a lot of history. There's 2.5 years worth of history there. There's not all of it's good. Some of it's been quite ugly. So it's been a time this year of reflecting on that, reaching out, rebuilding bridges, and kind of forgetting about diving into the drama and the FUD, and just focusing on what we have that's positive, and leaning into that. So yeah, that's all very interesting. We've gone all puppies and rainbows. Like, this started off as the wine and cheese show, and it was mostly the wine show. So we flipped over to puppies and rainbows. So
Yeah, like I have a saying, like, I don't have to like you to do business with you.
Cheese is telling me all the time, yeah, you don't have to like this person, but look at what they got going on and what they're doing, and how can we
Exactly.
help, and that sort of thing. So yeah,
I mean, I appreciate all the friendships I have, and I like most people, but there are some people that, can be toxic to a point where I won't even do business with you. And
Greasy.
that's for my own greasy. Oh no, I do business with the greasy guy. He's all right.
You know
I
what's
mean,
funny
he's just
about that,
he's
though?
just looking out for his bottom line. I mean,
Yeah,
I did what I did. I don't no regrets.
no regrets.
But yeah, he's someone that's not toxic in a sense. He was just looking out for his bottom line, and I guess I could respect that. So even though, yeah, he's greasy, I could do business with him, but there's certain people that are on the line of toxic, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
even give those people a chance. Like I gave them one chance. That's shame on them. If I do it again, that's shame on me. So
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. Like, I don't think Shaq's seen, it's not out in the public yet, that we've put together a kind of advertisement for the Samurai Aquatics decor business. And it's funny that you say you don't want to do business with Greasy, but Cheese wrote and directed this ad, and she's like, be as greasy as possible, be a greasy salesman. So I literally slicked my hair down and grew
I really wanted a Better Call Saul vibe. Like a Better Call Saul and a car salesman, a used car salesman, and Ben nailed it. Like I produced it, directed, wrote it. I added all the edits. I have this movie director software, and it's just so much fun to use. So I told Ben, like, I got this, and I can't
right
wait.
into the grease.
I can't wait for everybody to see the full version, because we have like a snippet of like the non funny parts, just the information for the Discord.
Yes.
When you've seen it, have you seen it, Shaq?
I don't think so.
Oh
I
no,
don't think
she
we've put it out
hasn't.
there.
She hasn't. All right.
So yeah, the short version that points to the server, that'll be this episode will actually be the first version that's patched into. So yeah,
Wow.
keep your eye. But the
All
full
right.
version will come out once we have some stock manufacturing and that sort of stuff. Anyway, we're supposed to be, we're all about the Shack. We had our self-promotion. So just looking ahead to what you got going on now, like, what's a day in the life of, like, an Upland day in the life of Shack? Like, I think in my conversation with Doyle yesterday, I was talking about how it's very often I'll wake up early in the morning and do 4 hours worth of Upland stuff, but I haven't even opened the game to collect my dividends or anything. So what's some of the first things that you're doing? Like, are you going straight into your treasure hunts, or what are you up to?
Oh, well, I get up and I have coffee, and then I walk my dog. And as soon as I get home, I sit down here at my computer, open Discord, and start working. Until dinner.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Sound like cheese.
Yeah. I'm the same. Now, wait, you mentioned something. You said that you're a writer, and I love that. Because like I'm bad with words. Like a lot of the time I'll be like, Ben, I need you to help me write something. Or
she
like I
vomits she vomits a whole bunch of random words at me, and it's like, do something with this.
Do some, help me. So I wrote this huge freaking article, and I know like the grammar was so bad and the spelling, and then I'm like, Ben, help me, please. And not only did he help me, but he put you know, a good amount of his own insights into it. So I just had to put his name there because it was our creation together, and I'm so proud of it. And I'd like to do more of that with him. And I remember asking in the UDU if anybody was a writer, and I remember you said it, and we never got back to talk about it. So like, what are some of the things you write? Because I was really intrigued by that.
Oh, well, I wrote a book called an, an America I Never Knew. And it is about it's a little bit memoir, it's a little bit autobiography, and a little bit biography.
All right.
But it is about white collar crime and a situation that I lived through that was unbelievable to me.
Oh, wow.
About how certain things in America work, such as the justice system and white collar crime related laws, and even some things with the FDA. So that's why the title, An America I Never Knew. And the company used the courts to suppress the book, and so I'm not allowed to advertise it, so it's not marketed.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But it is out there. It's on Amazon.
Could we put the link in this YouTube?
Yeah, I don't care. It's
Bring
on
me the
Amazon.
link, I'll patch it in.
It's on Amazon.
There you go.
But I wrote that, and yeah. And then during there's stories within stories, because during the time I was living through that, I rescued an injured wild great horned owl.
Wow.
And the veterinarian didn't want to mess with it and was going to put it to sleep after I capture it. And I mean, it's just this gorgeous creature, and it can't fly because there's something wrong with its wing. And so I take it to the vet, and she's going to put it down.
Too hard basket. Yeah.
And so a very prominent physician was like, no, she can't do that. You know, this can be fixed. And so started this struggle with trying to get the owl back from the veterinarian, because US laws, I'm not allowed to have the owl because I don't have a license. You have to have a wildlife license. So kind of a long story, but I eventually get the owl back. And meanwhile, an armed wildlife officer has come to my home.
Wow.
Because somebody reported that I was taking care of an owl in my house.
Without a license. Yeah.
Without a license. And so I said, well, I have found a wildlife clinic in Oregon where the doctor has agreed to fix the owl. And he said, well, you can't take the owl across state lines without a permit.
Oh my God.
Bureaucracy, yeah.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, but the owl could fly across state line. I mean,
yeah.
So I end up smuggling the owl in the middle of the night during winter, during a snowstorm, from Washington State to Oregon. And then anyway, the owl gets fixed and gets secretly smuggled back to me in Washington, where it continues to heal in my barn, and I'm take frozen mice and rats out and leave it for it. And then I eventually get it out of my barn and release it into the wild, and she flies away. And so I have another little booklet about that, but it's not actually on the market, but I plan to I plan to get it out there someday.
Well, you're awesome. That was really awesome of you. And look at that, like freedom of speech, where You can't even market your own book that you wrote, right? Where
Right. So I need to isolate the owl story.
Yep.
And put that out there. But the
It
story
sounds like
is
your writing it's very much a cathartic process almost for you.
It is. It is. Yeah. And I don't know. I like to write about things that matter.
Mm.
You know, like real things and things that matter. And just, yeah. I'm a little bit philosophical in my head.
I love it. I love that. The owl story I thought was going to take a dark turn, and I love that you were able to smuggle it and get it fixed, and now it's like flying with its friends somewhere, and I'm gonna sleep good tonight.
Well, you know, so when I was coming home, it could have taken a really dark turn, and you're right about that. And I've had attorneys tell me, like, you are so lucky. They say people go to jail for that. These wildlife officers do not mess around. So I think I got really lucky. But on my way home from Oregon, after I dropped the owl off and I was driving home, I called the wildlife officer. And I was like, "Hi, Lenny, it's me. I just wanted you to know that I took the owl to receive care, and the owl's at the Rowena Wildlife Center. And I will be home in about 2 hours if you want to come and arrest me."
Wow.
Wow.
He
Yeah.
said, "Thanks for giving me the heads up. I'll assemble the SWAT team."
But you know what? You see things like this Tiger King thing, and you see these really awful people with these exotic animals, and they leave them in hot trucks to die, and they're like, well,
Because
I
they have
own
the
them. They're my
permits.
things.
Yeah.
They're my things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here you are wanting to save this beautiful animal, and you get all this bureaucracy where they're in a state where it's like, hey, yeah, you want it? It's just an animal. Go ahead. It's yours. Like a snow leopard in freaking 90-degree weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's there, you know, as we all know, there's things that are messed up about the system. And
You'll often find, I don't know if it was the case, obviously, with that particular wildlife officer, but a lot of those people, they're just doing their job. You know, they're probably dead set against it too, and they're reading you the law while they're rolling their eyes at the same time. You know, but then you'll get the jerks that are all about the power of the situation. So
right, and I was
sounds like you got a good one.
I was banking on the humanity of it, and that's why I was trying to be honest and you know, turn myself in. Hey, I did this, and now the owl's going to be okay, but I know I did something wrong, and so you can come and get me. I'll be home in 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, imagine getting dragged off to jail in handcuffs, and you get in there with murderers and all the rest of it. And why are you in here? Oh, because I saved an owl's life. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Right, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right, then you realize the law exists for good reasons, and you know, because so it's just one of those things where there isn't a good answer for some things, and sometimes doing the right thing, the good or humane thing, means paying the cost, because sometimes the right thing isn't legal.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
well, we have a similar situation in Australia, which it's a source of frustration for me. Like, we have very strict wildlife caring ownership rules as well, but there's so many of our native species that are endangered. You know, some of them are critically endangered, but a large part of the problem is that we have wild cats and dogs escaping and becoming feral and destroying the wild populations. Like, I could, even from a kid, when I was a kid, like, I was all about animals and that sort of stuff. I couldn't get my head around, well, why can't I have a pet quoll? Like, a quoll's it's a small marsupial, carnivorous marsupial. It's kind of almost a cross between a small cat and a dog sort of thing, a spotted quoll. They're beautiful looking creatures, right? And they're endangered. Well, why can't I have one of those as pets? If they're endangered, you know, imagine if you were allowed to have those as pets, and then they wouldn't be endangered anymore. It's kind of a weird situation. Like, but I got to have this cat it's not from Australia. It does tremendous damage here, and if it escapes, it's going to turn feral. And I think the number of animals that escaped creatures kill is just outrageous. So yeah, that's bureaucracy is all over the place.
No, Ben, you can't
definitely a
kill
minefield.
cats in Australia.
Well, you can. There's plenty of people that are allowed to do it, and there is there is cat
Don't give
hunters
me
that go out
nightmares.
there.
She gave me a really good story, and I want to keep that story.
Puppies and rainbows. Insert GIF here. Yes. All right. Well, is there anything in the crypto Web3 space that kind of piques your interest as far as writing is concerned?
Not yet. I still am trying to gather information and understanding enough to believe I have the right to formulate an opinion. So I'm still learning. I have a lot to learn.
Nice. And like, we know that everything's changing so quickly within the space, and even since like when you first got involved with Upland, it started January. So much has happened, even just within the Upland metaverse. Like, so what's that? We're 8 months almost. So if we're talking again this time next year, what do you think we'd be sitting down to talking about? How do you think the ecosystem is going to change and evolve?
I don't know. Edan told me this is going to be a big, big year.
Coming up or 22? 22.
Yeah. I told him, I said, I just got in January, and he got this huge smile, and he said, I think you're going to be happy you got in when you did, because we have a lot planned for this year.
Wow. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened already.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, I notice is like yum num 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 num, give me more. And like I'm like, well, let's appreciate like the stuff, like I know that we're gonna have a lot of really cool stuff coming up, but like just the fact that we have like the cars coming out slowly but surely. I still need one. The governance, like the outdoor decor coming, factories now, like anything else more this year is going to be pudding. Like, I don't know. I see like the next year coming up to be like huge, but if there's like more for this year, then I'll be happy. That'll be crazy good.
Well, what do you think will happen with transportation? Because with Decor opening, these semi-trucks need to start driving stuff around, right?
Yeah. But during the beta, nobody could really help us.
No, and I don't think that's something that's going to happen this year. Like, we're going to just see, like, we're almost September. So I expect Decor manufacturing will drop in September, and we need a manufacturing period. Like, these are not going to go on sale automatically. There's going to be a time period where we can build up some inventory. That's going to take, I don't know, I assume, say a month.
Yeah.
So then you're talking about the first Decor shops actually opening for business in maybe October. And I expect probably they might give us a month. They might give us a couple of weeks. If everything's running smoothly, then they're going to open that up to some more people to get involved. But it's not like Block Explorer shops and NFLPA shops where they can say, okay, put your application in and you're open for business tomorrow. There's so much work involved when it's actually user-generated content. So there's so much background stuff that has to be done. So I wouldn't expect that kind of sister ecosystem to really start opening up until next year. As far as transportation goes, I don't think it would be very fair for them to open up transportation as a business when so few people have had the opportunity to buy any of the trucks and that sort of stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that just the basic concept of racing gets opened up a lot more this year, but it's gonna require cars in the hands of a crap load more people than what we have at present.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to watch. As far as big things this year, I think what are we? I think we're probably going to still see probably another 3 or 4 cities be released. I
This
wouldn't
year.
be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to hear them announce another soccer partnership. Like we've seen Porto, that's only one team. Um, yeah, I would expect we'd see another expansion of that. There has been a lot of FUD associated with the NFLPA. I believe football season is just about to kick off. I believe that FUD was from well, maybe one person in particular that has an axe to grind, shall we say. Yeah, I don't believe any of that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Who knows? But I think this next coming football season, what's Upland's had? They've had a full year of this partnership and having their legits out in the market. This year, this football season really needs to take that. It needs to go to the next level. Not that I'm involved in it at all. I got no idea whatsoever. But
right, same here. But we've got people developing a layer 2 for the legits.
Yep.
And I think they have people right in contact with the Upland dev team, right?
Yep.
And so if that weren't going to be a thing anymore,
yeah, that's. I think that's all.
I think it doesn't make sense.
No, but I think in general terms, I think, and I talked about this with Loyal yesterday. I think we're reaching a tipping point where you can't do everything. You just can't. Even if you have the money, you don't have the time and the focus and the energy. And I think there's a lot of pushback from some of the maybe not so much the OG community, but kind of the people that have been involved for say a year and a half, that sort of thing, where everybody's going to have to personally take on board and accept that I cannot do everything. I cannot buy property in every single city. I cannot do every single meta venture and that sort of stuff. So
Well, I have a rant for that. I
Oh, yeah?
actually have a
Go.
whine. All right,
Nice.
so basically months ago, people were saying, can we have more than one city at once? And I was a
Yep.
big fan of this. I actually sat out a few openings because of this. Like Detroit, I got like a few stuff. I didn't really go really hard in Porto, but I did in Brazil. You have to pick and choose. Like you ask for more cities to come out at once, and then you get mad when they do. Like no one, not everyone's gonna be happy, and then like you can't just complain just for the sake of complaining, people. This is an amazing place. We met so many amazing people here. It's fun. Yeah, all right. I treat it as an investment, but that's because I'm doing that personally. It's you come down to it, it's a play to earn game. However you want to take it is however you want to take it. And when you ask a question and you get an answer, you're not allowed to be angry that it's not the answer you want. If you want honesty, you want them to be honest with you, and then they are. You can't say, well, I didn't like your tone of voice. It doesn't make sense. All right, you don't like the answer. That's a different conversation. It shouldn't be an argument or insulting. I, for one, like the fact that I have to choose where I want to go. I didn't go back to Brazil. I feel like I did what I needed to do, and I'm going to sit the second opening out. I'm going to lick my wounds and replenish my epics. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. We're getting to a point where the game has to evolve. The game has to go at a speed it's getting accustomed to, especially when there's new players. You don't have to be everywhere. Every city doesn't have to be minted out. Like what's the point of new players coming in and they don't have anywhere to mint? Like, you could go to Los Angeles right now and still mint, which is great.
High-end collections.
High-end collections. Like, if I was new and I saw that would make me excited. That would make me want to stay. Like, there's no reason why things have to be a certain way. Like don't get angry at what you can't control. Just learn to adapt, learn to understand. I just get angry when I see, the managers getting talked to a certain way, because like I did retail a lot, and I'm not saying they're retail, but they're forward facing. And I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. My 2 cents. I, for one, like that they're giving us a choice,
Well, you've said that the game needs to evolve. I think if I reflect on my own situation, I think as a player I've evolved significantly this year. Like previous city releases, I'd go in and spend my entire budget. I'd go for the collection, speculation, FOMO. I'd completely clean my budget out and then have to rebuild. Where as a player I've evolved to
being more strategic.
Yeah, being more strategic, being aware of what I actually want to focus on. I will mint properties in every single city that comes online, but gone are the days where I spend 25 million UPEX like I did in Chicago or something, just going crazy.
Jesus,
I'll buy my 4 or 5 properties, and you know what? I'm happy with that. Like I did that in Rio. I got a few properties and I was happy. Like when that announcement came through, I was like, well, that's cool. They're opening up an expansion, but I didn't think that's not fair because I don't have the UPEX. I'm going to miss out.
Exactly.
But previously I would have thought that, absolutely. I would have thought that.
Like maybe people who didn't have the UPEX then have it now. Like give them a chance to buy some. I don't know. Like you don't have to own everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a complex, big game. Think it's going international, and as it continues, and then let's say we get international shipping and commerce set up, and we've got ships and planes and semi trucks, and I mean race cars and plant stands and pets and,
and absolutely,
all sorts of sports and whatever with all over the globe. It is going to get out of hand where you can't do it all.
Yeah.
Right? That seems logical.
Yeah. Pick and choose. Don't die on this hill. There's going to be so many hills to die on.
Yeah.
I think that all comes together to highlight how strong having the communications are. Like you said, you're essentially working to build bridges between the various communities, the various node projects. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where the value, the strength, or whatever you want to say, the power of those kind of situations is going to really come into their own. Yeah, we don't know how governance is going to play a role in that. We don't know how if spawned neighborhood collections. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's still yet to play out, but it's all, as I always said, cheese. It's very interesting. Yes. All right. Well, just as we're wrapping up, is there anything that you would like to point people in the direction of? Like if they wanted to find out more about what you've got going on and what you're involved in, what's the easiest way for people to get in touch?
DM me on Discord. If you're curious about any of the projects I mentioned, then I can point you in the right direction.
Yes.
I'm happy to hear from people.
I'm very much looking forward to October 31st this year as we lead up to what's going to happen in the Creedmoor Hub. I think that's going to be exceptional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be really cool. Very excited.
Do you want to do our challenge now so we don't have to record it on the back end and make things easier for you, Ben? Or do you want to do the sickos?
I think we'll have to just do it on the back end because we haven't given Shaq the heads up on what that's all about. So
all right.
We'll pick her brain once we stop record. I don't know. I think we're done. Anything else you wanted to say, Chase, or Shaq? You want to go?
I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. It's a real honor and pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right, Chase. You know what to do. Get us the flock.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Number
pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up.
G'day, sickos. Okay, to get your hands on this episode's free custom Morecheeese NFT, as always, like and subscribe. Now, you're going to have to pay a bit of closer attention here because we're mixing things up a bit and trying something new. Get yourself over to Twitter and tag Shaktilyn, Morecheeese, and myself in a tweet and let us know what's your favorite part of the episode and why. All the necessary links are in the description, so no whining, you big babies. Later.
Empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Evil empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky. Evil empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Evil empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky.